You want a closer who can shut the door when it matters most. You want someone who makes ninth-inning leads feel safe instead of terrifying. And right now, the Dodgers might be zeroing in on exactly that guy. An MLB insider just dropped some huge news about Los Angeles pursuing a two-time All-Star closer, and this could be the move that fixes everything wrong with their bullpen. But here's the twist. This pitcher just had the worst season of his career. So why are the Dodgers so interested? Let me break down why this could actually be the smartest signing of the entire offseason. Look, we all watched what happened last year. The Dodgers bullpen was a disaster in the closer role. They cycled through options all season long and never found anyone they could truly trust in the ninth inning. Tanner Scott was supposed to be the answer after they traded for him. Instead, he became part of the problem with inconsistent performances and blown saves that left everyone frustrated. Then you had Blake Treinen, who's now 37 years old and clearly doesn't have the same stuff anymore. His time as a dominant closer has passed. Evan Phillips dealt with injuries when they needed him most. The closer carousel just kept spinning with no one grabbing the job and running with it. The numbers tell the brutal truth. The Dodgers bullpen posted a 4.27 ERA during the regular season. Among playoff teams, only the Yankees had a worse bullpen ERA at 4.37. That's not the company you want to keep when you're trying to win championships. Philadelphia came in just below Los Angeles at 4.25, but that's barely better and certainly nothing to celebrate. But here's what really hurts. The Dodgers blew 27 saves last season, 27 games where they had the lead in the ninth inning and couldn't close it out. That was the seventh most blown saves in all of baseball. Their save percentage sat at just 63%. For a team with championship aspirations and one of the best rosters in baseball, that's completely unacceptable. You cannot win consistently when you're giving away that many late-game leads. So who's the answer? Right now, there's nobody on the current roster you can confidently hand the ball to in the ninth inning. Some people mention Roki Sasaki as a possibility, but the Dodgers didn't pursue him to be a reliever. They see him as a starting pitcher, and frankly, that's probably the best use of his talents anyway. This brings us to free agency and the name that's generating serious buzz, Devin Williams. According to Fabian Ardaya from The Athletic, the Dodgers are actively pursuing Williams, and here's the kicker. There's reportedly mutual interest between both sides. Williams wants to pitch for Los Angeles, and the Dodgers want him in their bullpen. That's always a great starting point for negotiations. Now, I need to be completely honest with you about Williams. He had a rough year with the Yankees in 2025. His ERA ballooned to 4.79. His WHIP was 1.29. He gave up 90 strikeouts, but also allowed 65 hits per 9 innings, 45 total hits, and 5 home runs. These are not good numbers by any measurement. The Yankees were disappointed with what they got after changing their famous facial hair policy to accommodate him. But before you write him off completely, we need to dig deeper. Look at Williams' track record before last season. His career ERA progression tells a different story. Even in his rookie year, he posted a 3.95 ERA. Then he absolutely dominated 0.33, 2.50, 1.93, 1.53, and 1.25 in consecutive seasons. Those are elite closer numbers. Last year was clearly an anomaly when you zoom out and see the bigger picture. This is where advanced metrics become crucial. When a pitcher has a bad ERA, you need to figure out if they were genuinely bad or if they got unlucky. That's where FIP comes in. Fielding independent pitching. It measures what a pitcher's ERA should be based on things they can control like strikeouts, walks, and home runs. Williams had a 2.68 FIP last season despite that 4.79 ERA. That massive gap suggests he was extremely unlucky. Balls were finding gaps, his defense wasn't helping him, and timing worked against him repeatedly. People across social media are noticing this discrepancy too. The consensus is building that Williams was a victim of bad luck rather than declining skills. When you see that big of a difference between ERA and FIP, it usually means regression. To the mean is coming. In other words, he's likely to bounce back significantly. Here's the concerning part though. Williams gave up 33 earned runs last season. That's more than his previous 3 seasons combined. Even if you add up his earned runs from 21, 22, and 23, you only get to about 43 total. One bad year nearly matched 3 excellent years. That's a red flag the Dodgers have to consider seriously. But I genuinely believe he'll bounce back, and here's why. Williams still has one of the best changeups in all of baseball. When you look at his pitch movement charts, it's absolutely filthy. The ball starts in one location and ends up in a completely different spot with ridiculous break. His expected ERA sits in the 85th percentile, and his expected batting average is in the 94th percentile, according to StatCast. These underlying numbers suggest the results will come. So where does this leave the Dodgers? They're looking at three main closer options right now: Edwin Diaz, Pete Fairbanks, and Devin Williams. Diaz will command a premium price based on his track record. Fairbanks will be expensive, but slightly less so. Williams presents the most interesting value proposition because his price should be somewhat suppressed after that rough season, even though his past performance has been elite. This is where Andrew Friedman has to make a calculated decision. How much do you pay for bullpen help? Do you go all in on the proven commodity with Diaz and pay top dollar? Do you find middle ground with Fairbanks? Or do you buy low on Williams, betting that last year was an outlier and his true talent level will resurface? I think Williams makes the most sense for several reasons. First, the price should be reasonable given the down year. Second, he actively wants to play for the Dodgers. That mutual interest matters. Third, he might be willing to sign a shorter prove-it deal to rebuild his value, which gives Los Angeles flexibility. Fourth, the advanced metrics strongly suggest he'll return to form. And fifth, the Dodgers have an excellent track record of fixing struggling pitchers. The money isn't an issue for Los Angeles. They've shown they'll spend when they identify the right target. What they need is someone they can trust to get outs in the ninth inning consistently. Williams has proven he can do that throughout most of his career. One bad season doesn't erase years of dominance. The timing works perfectly, too. Williams is likely motivated to prove last year was a fluke. The Dodgers desperately need bullpen help. Both sides want to work together. Sometimes these alignments create the perfect deal where everyone wins. I'd rate my interest in signing Williams at about a 7 out of 10. He still has elite stuff, he's performed at a high level for years, and the underlying numbers suggest regression to better performance is coming. The risk exists that he continues struggling, but I think the upside significantly outweighs that downside. The Dodgers can't go into next season with the same bullpen question marks. They need to address the closer role definitively. Devin Williams represents their best opportunity to do that while getting excellent value.
This move could be the difference between another disappointing bullpen and having the shutdown reliever they've been missing. What do you think? Would you want Williams closing games for the Dodgers? Let me know your thoughts.